good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Tuesday, 28th of October, so we are eagerly awaiting um, the end of the month. We also have, again, I just showed this again at the start, interest rate decision tomorrow at 7 p.m. UK time. So, yeah, put that in your respective times. Long to short ratio, kind of sitting at about 56% long. Nothing really too much to say on this. It's kind of stabilized a little bit. Been going a little bit sideways since 9 p.m. Monday morning. So yeah, nothing too crazy there. As we can see on the Binance accounts, yeah, it's sitting at pretty much the same. We did hit a low of 52.8%, which is quite nice. This general trend is that more shorts are entering the market and longs are being generally closed, which is also nice to see for potentially more upside as we kind of like hurtle towards 120k. There could be a scenario that if we get up to 120, everyone might flip short and we actually do the swing fail like Stu was talking about to like 128. But yeah, I've showed you that liquidations anyway, so you're all aware of that potential possibility. Local liquidation levels, we have some stuff below us, pretty much all the way down to like there's a couple hot spots, 111. One just underneath 112 and just underneath where we are like 113 too as well. To the upside, yeah, we got some stuff stacked in. We got a little bit of a dead zone at like 118 118.4. If I just go to the weekly time frame, yeah, and actually a bit of a dead zone at 112.4. I didn't really see that on the 3-day, but yeah. To be honest, I'm kind of like not really. I don't really need this liquidation thing anymore because of the MDX Algo one. I just kind of like to look at it because it's fun. But anyway, we'll close that down. Looking at the short max pain, the 1 week short max pain and the 3-day short max pain is sitting about 116.5 on Bitcoin. So we are relatively quite close to that. We actually might have hit 116.4 literally earlier on in the week. So just above that recent high that we did is the short max pain, just for your information. 2 weeks sitting at 117.1 and the 1 week I was obviously all the way up at the top, I think 126.5. Yeah. So interesting, very, very interesting. And yeah, the long max pain's all the way back down. So cool. CoinGlass Legend, again, the node's still sitting about 111.4, 111.5. Nothing too crazy there. Let's just let's move on. Wait, did that not? Yeah, it did change. I'm on the right screen here as well. Yeah, cool. All good. All good. So we'll obviously just start off with the old Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin looks relatively quite good. It looks fine. We've come up and hit this resistance at August. This is the gain level that takes us all the way up to like basically 121 and potentially even further into the short liquidations above the high. But yeah, it looks good. We've gained a new high. So previous high, new high here. This is basically your low now. I don't really want to get underneath sort of like 111. So where the node was on CoinGlass Legend, which was 111.5-ish, this stuff, I don't really want to get below this like support now. But yeah, it's looking quite good. It looks like we're being supported on the local price action here and the Q4. So yeah, can't really knock it at the moment. Maybe seeing some low time frame failure on the 1 hour, but we've just come back and retested this. If we don't make a new high on August, once we like come up, there's potentially an argument that we could go down to 111.5, but we could also just squeeze up into it as well. So yeah, it's looking quite good actually at the moment. ETH looking a little bit worse. Actually has seen a bit of like local breakdown from the weekly open, the Q4. But it's nothing too crazy at the moment. We're being supported on this at the same time. We do have like a little bit of a cross on the 4-hour oscillators as well. They are kind of coming down as we are breaking down. this could mean that we could actually break down towards like 3.95, 3.9 to 4, 3.8 to 3.9 is a long area. Well, 3.9 on ETH is a long area for me, just because if we look at the daily time frame, we've got a lot of bullish divergence coming in. This is also arcing up. This is back at the midline harmony on the daily time frame. It looks like it wants to break out. As long as we can hold sort of like that previous weekly open, I feel like it looks really good to potentially break out back up to 4.6, 4.7 on ETH. And the alts, they will follow. So yeah, maybe just seeing some like minor local breakdown here, which I don't think is going to bring us too much further. At the worst, I think we could be targeting like 3.85, but I don't think we're going to break 3.9. So this would be an area to long if we do get back down there on ETH. Yeah, nothing too much to say. We are building some high leverage stuff below us. So if we do see some like lower time frame failures, expect all the high leverage stuff to get swept. Bitcoin, it'll probably be just like 111. There is an argument potentially like high 109, but again, similar thing. I don't want to get back down and start like breaking these levels for this structure that we put in. Solana. Let's actually just turn. No, we'll keep that on. Solana looking a little bit better than ETH. Actually, might have seen a very, very sneaky close on the 4 hour below here. But as long as you can hold this daily open, it actually looks like not too bad in this area. I think, again, if you lose this daily open, there's probably a really easy trade from this area, September weekly open, daily open, that you could short it back down to like 193, 194, this area in here. But yeah, I don't want to lose this area anymore. And again, we're in an uptrend since basically this is the big low and we made a new high. So we are in an uptrend on the 4 hour. It looks quite good. We are potentially locally breaking down just to do some retests in the mid range here. High, low, mid in the mid range before I think we're going to go a little bit further into like November. But yeah, just watch out for like some of these retests on the interest rate decision, and watch out if we like sweep some of this liquidity. I feel like if we do get like some wicks down here and we get sort of like into this stuff on anything like Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, it's a potential area to long. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the bullishness, guys. I'm feeling the bullishness. So yeah, one thing that I'm actually in is Popcat. So I'm in a Popcat long just from this previous weekly open. This little area here is where I kind of got pinged. Again, it's kind of like the same philosophy on all this stuff. If you see like the SR flip, which is here, this is the SR flip, that's where I'm going to want to long. And then these are the lows that I don't want to lose down here. So just this whole structure that we did from pretty much like Friday into like Sunday on alts, this block, that's why I don't want to lose, and that's why I'm potentially longing for higher at this moment in time. So yeah, there's actually a more simple trade on Popcat if I just zoom out a little bit and take off auto charting tools, and it's this high that I've actually like marked on. This high, if you gain this high, it's the easiest trade up to the lows of here. So basically gain 175, go to like 208, 21. Let's just call it 21 for simplicity's sake. If you gain this high, it's probably the most easiest trade up to like 21, which is about 18%. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on Popcat. That would be probably the most easiest trade, is that if you do a couple closes above here, basically everything from here to like here is going to be your long zone for the bounce up to this area. I think that's going to be a very easy trade if that were to happen. So I'm just kind of like preemptively entering in this area. So yeah, I think that's going to be a good trade. And you can enter this on spot. You could actually, if you want the least amount of risk possible, what I would do is I'd wait for a close above here. and then basically just 1x spot buy all the way back down in this area, and then just wait for the pop. Very easy trade, in my opinion. So yeah, even if you're like don't have a high risk tolerance, because this is actually like you'd be waiting for sort of like a 15% bump here, and then once it does close above there, it could come down to like retest this previous high that we just put in, so like 165 ish. So you're looking like 7% dump. I'd be looking at potentially, if you're looking to like ladder in, just going on like 1x futures and like trying to long this area. That's once you do like get a close above. But yeah, I think that's looking really good for a good move up. Excuse me. So another thing that was actually moving quite well, actually I need to take that off because that's not really doing anything, is it? Is BNB. So BNB, yeah, we got the lows round, it's probably around just like here. I think this is a good SR flip. It's a little bit janky, you know, probably like something like that is what we don't want to lose now. So BNB is a potential long area, just like somewhere in here. Let's actually, yeah, probably around like this structure in here, in this weekly open. This is what you don't want to lose. Basically, just that weekly open and that like low structure here. That's what you don't want to lose. Getting some local breakdown of the weekly open. This probably we might come a little bit deeper, and we can kind of like turn on the liquidations and say they're probably going to clear out this high leverage stuff, and then if we can like hold this low, then it'll be looking good to potentially even just about straight up to the weekly open. Then we can talk about maybe going higher, but that's also potentially interesting on something which doesn't move too heavy. So if you have a low risk tolerance, I'd be looking at maybe something like this, which has a really tight area and also quite a tight stop as well. Not looking bad, guys. Not looking bad at all. Let me just look at the volume delta on this. Yeah, you're getting a bit of shorts. Actually getting a lot of shorts in this area. Actually, the volume tapered off and we got some nice longs. So you can see where the long volume came in. Basically right here. Which is also kind of what we don't want to lose. Which is what I was talking about. This sort of like area. But anyway, that's BNB. I don't really want to waste too much time on that. I've got quite a lot of things to look at. Actually, quite a lot of things that are looking interesting. So, similar philosophy on Fartcoin. Simply looking at this for a trade. We also have the previous weekly open coming in around this SR here. And we've also got the support zone as well. So, this is something that is looking quite interesting. We do have a lot of high leverage stuff, sort of like 3.8. And some other stuff at like 3.6. I feel like this is not something that I'm going to be aiming for right now, this high leverage stuff. I'm actually in a long on this, probably on this wick. So I've what's the word? I've kind of like averaged in with some low orders at the top here. I think it was around 395. Some low orders at the top here, and then some higher orders down at sort of like 3.8 in this actual like SR in this area. Some heavier orders, and I don't want to lose that. That's an SR flip. That's an SR flip. If we start getting below, let me just do it again, so it's a bit more like clear. This is an SR flip. Put my ray on, please. SR flip. This is the low we don't want to lose. This is another SR flip. Low we don't want to lose. So basically this whole structure in here is what we don't want to lose anymore. And so yeah, I just feel like with this new high, it's quite an easy trade. So long this whole area, pretty much about 2%, very low leverage. I'm probably on like I'm on 2x for this really. And yeah, let's see where this goes. I feel like it's going to be a good one. Risk it all in. That's a cute gif. President, genius, actor, baseball star, over crypto trader. Yeah. Out of anything, or maybe I'm a freedom chaser. Maybe I'm not a crypto trader. I'm a freedom chaser. Sounds better, eh? But yeah, in general, the theme of this week is going to be like, we obviously, last week we were being very patient with the market. The week before was the week after the big dump, so it was just super quiet. This week it's all about trying to get into longs, getting into good setups, trying to get into some like low leverage stuff that you don't need to like pinpoint the perfect entry price unless it goes 1 or 2% the other way. Like, I'm just trying to potentially like catch some of the expansions back up to the 786s that I was talking about. So like even on Bitcoin, like if we come back down here and come back into this stuff, like I'm going to be looking to catch the bounce up to the 786, this area now this week, especially as after we have a defined higher high and we've got like lows that we just want to hold. So it's going to be a similar sort of thing on a lot of these other stuff. So another thing that I'm actually in, I was heavily longing this last night. I put it in the altcoin chat, but it was kind of a little bit too, it wasn't too late, but it was last night around here. I started longing some Tau. Now I do own a spot bag of Tau, but I'm kind of looking at this as potentially a little bit of a mooner. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mooner. This is actually something that's done like held up relatively well compared to the rest of the market. And if I went to the daily time frame, I was kind of like looking at this holding above this daily structure here and sort of like this daily structure here. I mean, like this looks kind of moony. Whoops. Excuse me, sir. Yeah, this looks kind of moony. Even if we come back down, I feel like this is just bull flagging. It's going to pop out at some point. They do also have their like... Oops. Take that off. They do also have their kind of like halving thing coming up. I believe they have some sort of like halving coming up towards December. So that's going to be a catalyst in the next month. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, for this to potentially like pop towards like 650, where then I'll think about selling a decent amount of spot and my actual trade. So yeah, sorry, I'm a bit discombobulated this morning. Again, this is sort of like the daily low that I don't want to lose on this, and potentially making a new high with some bullish divergence, hidden bullish on the daily time frame as well. So we are in resistance now, so I wouldn't be looking to long it in this area, but yeah, I basically caught some sort of like around here. I was actually kind of like aggressively longing this area. So yeah, I'm going to have a stop on this. And if we come back down into like 350, that's also going to be a long. This area, which actually is tested already. This is tested. This is tested. We would like to break here and then potentially like just do that. Looks kind of breakouty. Looks kind of pumpy, to be honest. So one thing that I could actually bring you that I'm not yet fully in the position is Doge. I am actually building a little bit of a Doge position, so I'm tentatively like kind of going in. I got an order here at 199. I've actually got orders just like stacked all the way down here. And then, yeah, it's kind of like a similar thing. This is the SR that I don't really want to lose, like not 194, 195. And if you just put on like auto charting tools, it's pretty much 195, like this low, where this previous weekly open is. That's why I don't want to lose. But again, just looking at this structure, you got a new high from here. So you got a new low. This is the midpoint. Don't want to lose that for some upside. Potentially going to go a little bit higher. So that's something that I'm currently laddering into at this moment in time. That and PopCat, actually. Yeah, last but not least, I'm actually trying out a little bit of a strategy, which is combination bands and high leverage. So I've got orders set on this box where this high leverage stuff, it lines up with the low of the swing and also the 4-hour combination band. So if we see a bit of a dump down to here, like below this low, an alert will trigger, and I'm potentially going to long a bit in this area on AVAX. That will be at the lows. Similar sort of thing that I'm testing this out. It's literally just a combination band liquidation sort of like area just below the low. So again, just below this low, if we like start like grinding down into this, it's a similar thing to what Bitcoin did, where we had the low, we set a new high, we actually like grinded down, actually set a new low, but then like took all the liquidations and then did a regame. So again, I've actually need to put a box and set an alert on this area as well. So I'm testing out this new combination band liquidation theory, which I'll let you know how it goes. Just on some of these alts. But apart from that, that's about it from me. If you want me to look at any altcoins, feel free. I'm just going to set an alert on this. I'll probably just set on like 222. Check that there's one on AVAX. I don't think there is one on AVAX actually. Do like 19.2 on this. And yeah, so also Sui has actually done a little sneaky close above the previous 4 hour here. So again, another thing that is potentially looking quite good to long in this area if we get a bit of a pullback. This is already actually wicked down and retested the high. So it could actually just gain and go. I feel like if you gain the weekly open on a 4 hour time frame, it's a very easy trade up to the Q3. Only about 4% there. So yeah, that's about it for the roundup. I'm going to just say, is there anything else you want me to look at? Alts are looking very, very interesting this week. And if not, I'll stop my recording. We can just chill. But yeah, some things are actually showing some higher highs now and some good structure. So it's making me a lot more confident that I'm going to long any pullback. I feel like this is the area where we should be longing pullbacks now. We've had our nice patience. We've waited for some new highs, and now, you know, it's time to jump in. So yeah, let me stop my recording. I actually start uploading that.